I mean, is it really that big of a surprise that we're on part 4 here? Here recently, Brad Marchand found himself being fined another $5,000 for his actions during a match in the Emerald City. Therefore, I decided to continue this series and pick up where we left off. In this video, we'll be going over some of the biggest jerk moments from Marchand since March 3rd of last year when we did part 3. But before we do get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to my amazing patrons, Hunter B, Dom M, Adam M, and Patrick K. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, plans start at just $1 a month. If you're interested, information for that will be down below. And with that, here are 5 more jerk moments from Brad Marchand. During the overtime period between the Kings and Bruins in Beantown, things got pretty spicy in the Kings' end. After probably getting frustrated with Danault's natural shutdown abilities all game, Marchand decided he was going to try and let Danault get a taste of his elbow. Or rather, he attempted to do just that. Here we could see Marchand raising his elbow and then attempting to body slam his opponent to the ice thereafter. Following the altercation, Danault is clearly over whatever that scuffle was about, but Marchand isn't finished and still tries to get at Danault as the officials break them up. Now what's funny to me is the fact that Marchand decided he was going to go mess around with his helmet for a while, instead of going to the penalty box. Eventually, he made his way over to the sin bin to serve his minor penalty. Similarly to the last jerk moment, by the time Marchand let his inner rat surface, the game was tied 2-2. As the second period was winding down in the Twin Cities, a scrum began to ensue in front of the Bruins' net. And of course, the one player that was stirring things up the most in the pile was none other than Marchand himself. Reason being, well, as Jordan Greenway was making his way into Boston's end, Marchand decided to give Greenway a nice little cup check from behind. This obviously infuriated Greenway as he decided to retaliate. Now, for most of us watching, the hero in this scenario is defenseman Matt Dumba. Dumba could be shown grabbing Marchand by the jersey and trolling him a bit before things began to settle down. Now I have to say, this whole turn of events here is rather strange to say the least. During the winding seconds of the first period at Nationwide Arena, fans immediately turned their concern to Andrew Peeke. Reason being, well, Peeke was added to the long imaginary list of opponents that have fallen victim to Marchand's negligent antics. After Peeke played the puck in his end, Marchand decided to lay a questionable hit onto the defenseman thereafter. While some may see this hit and think it seems clean, here's a few things we can see in slow motion that make it pretty dirty. As Marchand is going in for the hit, before contact, we can see him leave his skates a bit. Also, Marchand has to know and have enough situational awareness as to where Peeke's head is going to be. Marchand contorts his body in a way that causes the brunt of impact to be, again, Peeke's vulnerable noggin. Also, at the very end, Marchand could have let up, but also kept his elbow in a position that made contact with his opponent's head as well. And even if you did want to give Marchand the benefit of the doubt, the way he immediately turned around expecting to answer for the hit shows that he knew it was wrong. Either way, the hit went uncalled and Boston scored directly after, in the other end as Peeke attempted to gather himself. Imagine this. It's your very first NHL game, and you're trying to enjoy the experience. However, to start things off, unfortunately, you're made to compete against Brad Marchand in your debut game. And for Daniil Maramonov, that was his unfortunate fate. Around midway into the first frame of play, Marchand decided to welcome his opponent to the show by giving him an elbow to the back of the head. Thankfully though, for the defenseman, he appeared to be okay and didn't suffer a concussion during his first NHL appearance. However, Marchand wasn't as fortunate, as he was given a 2-minute minor thereafter for elbowing. And for the final moment on this list, we have the most recent incident that resulted in even more money being withheld from Marchand's paycheck. During the final minutes of regulation, in Seattle, things quickly began to heat up in the Bruins' end. Marchand, who seemed to be rather frustrated with Oliver Bjorkstrand, decided to stoop to a low level and proceeded to try and slewfoot Bjorkstrand, who fell to the ice. Now obviously this wasn't a full-on slewfoot, but as we can see, Marchand was clearly negligent as he purposefully lifted his blade with the intention of using it to trip his opponents. Marchand was firstly given in-game punishment in the form of a cross-checking minor, and as you'd expect, or hope really, the league took notice. In result of his actions, Marchand was given a $5,000 fine for a dangerous trip, as NHL Player Safety classified it. This marked the 6th time in his career that Marchand had to pay up for his classless antics, when it comes to fines anyways. And I have a feeling it won't be the last either. In conclusion, I think it's fair to say that as long as Marchand continues his NHL career, we're going to be getting more fuel, aka jerk moments, to keep this series going. Even though he has, to some degree, mellowed out a bit over the years, Marchand just can't help himself sometimes and finds himself in hot water. If you'd like to support me and my work, you can do so by joining my Patreon as I mentioned, donating on Buy Me a Coffee, or hydrating with Liquid IV. If you'd like to take advantage of my discount I have to offer, simply use promo code AlyssaHope in all caps to receive 20% off and free shipping on your purchase today. Link will be below for that. And as always, thank you for watching.